I'm kidding. I know you can hear me. Don't worry about that. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. We are here with a little coffee. We have a little coffee here. It's nice and hot. I just refilled it. Hope everyone's having a fantastic morning. Today is it Wednesday or Friday? Today's Friday. Oh man, that means the weekend's tomorrow. I didn't get all my work done. I actually was finishing up making some quizzes for pokercoaching.com. That's my site. Go there, get a completely free trial. And I thought I had 4 more to make this morning. Turns out it was only 3. Sometimes you're lucky. Today, I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom because I'm going to explain to you how to ensure you succeed at poker long term. The good thing for me as a professional is that probably none of you are going to do these things. And that's fine, but my students do, and they have good success. Most people don't, they have poor success. Most people want to look for someone or something to blame for their failure at poker. And if that's what you find that you are doing, you are a fish, and you're probably not going to succeed at poker or much of anything, especially if there's variance involved. Someone was trying to complain to me on Instagram yesterday about how the people who succeed are like 1 in 10,000 who get lucky in the beginning and then get lucky throughout their whole career. And that's just not true. We're going to talk about some of my setbacks today. But the easiest way, and really the only way, in my opinion, to ensure you succeed, only 2 steps, with lots of tiny steps in the middle. 2 steps. Find a game that you can beat, okay? And then play it a ton. And that's it. That's all you have to do. As a young kid, I found Limit Hold'em. That allowed me to turn $50 into, I don't know, 50,000. 50 into 50,000 playing Limit Hold'em, despite the fact that I actually had a few big setbacks while playing Limit Hold'em. I remember I would always get up to 15-30 and then 30-60. I did okay at 15-30, moved to 30-60. I remember very early, like the 5th hand I played of 30-60 Limit Hold'em, I had pocket kings, flop king, 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 6. We capped it pre-flop, capped it on the flop, turn was an ace, capped it on the turn, river was another ace. We put in like 5 bets before I realized, oh my god, I could be beat here. And I lost like $1,000 on that hand or something. And that was rough. Eventually I moved to sit and goes. Then that allowed me to turn, I don't know, 30 or 40 or 50,000 that I had into about 300 by never winning more than 5 buy-ins. D. Nelson says it was bad beat jackpot. Yeah, that didn't exist. Someone also tried to say on Instagram, the only way anyone succeeds is by cracking off a big tournament. And that's just not true. I literally never played a tournament. Saying I'm dropping frames. If you're watching this on Twitch or YouTube, let me know if this looks okay. It says we're dropping frames. I mean, I guess I can try to change internet options. Don't really want to do that, though. Let me know if the internet's working or not. If it's working, then we're fine. If it's not working, I may have to change things up. Fine on Instagram. I know Instagram's fine. Instagram never has a problem for some reason. The computer sometimes does, though. Anyway, I essentially won $300,000 without ever winning more than 5 buy-ins. So, how do you do that? Well, there we go. I think we're back. Good. Looks like Facebook is frozen. We'll come back in just a second. Sorry, Instagram, be patient. We're waiting for Twitch and YouTube and all of that. Looks like Facebook is frozen for me. This is rough. If you all are here on YouTube or Twitch, let me know. It seems like it's working, but I never really know. I don't think it's working on Facebook. If someone here is on Facebook, let me know that as well. Facebook is good. Okay, good. If Facebook's good, it means the other ones are good. Perfect. If you're here on YouTube or Twitch, just type something. All I need is one person to confirm, but I know it's a little bit slow sometimes. In the meantime, we're filling out our book here. I said as soon as we get through the entire notepad, I'll have plenty of stuff to write. We're almost through. These are all the notes from a little coffee. Each of these will fill out, I don't know, a page, 2 pages, 3 pages, something like that. I'm actually going to close this program and try to load it up again. Hey, you see the rest of my room? Give me a second. Be patient, everyone. Be patient. Patience is not my strong suit either. Can D. Nelson be featured in this book? You know, D. Nelson, you probably should be. You're here basically every day. I kind of wish I didn't write these on sticky paper because it's like, look, this is a mess. You take one, you stick it to the other. Anyway, if anyone's here on YouTube, type something in the chat, please. It should be working, but I haven't seen any of you type anything, so I'm not sure it's working. Oh, there, okay, it's back. Oh wait, you're saying YouTube's down. YouTube is down, and now it's back. If it's down and back, I don't know what that means. YouTube's okay, fine, we're gonna go now. If your YouTube's not working, click refresh. All right, so let's get back to this. We've already spent enough time trying to get the internet to work. How to succeed at poker. Find a game you can beat and play it a ton. What do most people do, though? Most people treat poker like a get-rich-quick scheme. They think you have to get lucky to turn a tiny bit of money into a ton. And that is the only way to succeed, because they see a lot of people win tournaments, get a hold of some money, and then continue to run it up. They don't realize, though, that if you look at basically every single high-stakes player, almost every single one, they all found a game they could beat and grinded it a ton. And usually those games were very low variance. If you look at a lot of the very best super high-stakes players, almost all of them found a game they could beat, which was very often sit-and-goes or single-table satellites. One of those two, because those games both have very low variance. If you play 3,000 of them, you're probably going to be up if you have a decent win rate. Whereas if you play 3,000 tournaments with 500 people each, there's no guarantee you're going to be up after 3,000 games. So, very often, those players, I mean, look at almost all of them. They all did exactly the same course to success. And it made it pretty much impossible for them to fail. Because what they would do is whenever things go poorly, I did this a time or two, like whenever I lost that big hand at 30-60 limit hold'em we mentioned, where I had quads against quads, I moved back down. That essentially doubles your bankroll. Doubling your bankroll in terms of buy-ins is incredibly powerful because, say you know you're always going to keep 200 buy-ins for sit-and-goes or your single-table satellites. Well, if you lose 100 of them, which is kind of tough to begin with, it does happen, but it's kind of tough, move back down. Then you have 200 buy-ins again. If you lose 100 again, move back down. Then you have 200 again. It's like impossible to go broke, especially if you get out of the smallest games, right? I do understand if you start with $50 like I did and start playing, 50-cent sit-and, 50-cent buy-in sit-and-goes, then you can't really go much lower. If you can't go much lower, that's a problem. Yeah, you have to put $50 more in. So almost saying, yeah, the only way that people succeed is by continuously reloading their account. And that's just asinine, right? People have this idea that the only reason people succeed is because they get lucky or they pile tons of money into it. And I know myself and a lot of my friends started with almost no money. I mean, I started with $50. Never redeposited, never had any issues because I was very disciplined. Most poker players want to get rich quick. They do not want the slow and steady grind. And the fun thing about poker is that if you put in volume, it's not actually that slow and steady. Because it's actually fast and steady. Because you can double your bankroll every 2 or 3 months if you're playing a lot. Think about this, right? Let's say you are playing sit-and-goes with a 10% ROI. Not huge, but, decent sit-and-go, decent win rate. That means every 10 games you play, you make 1 buy-in on average. Okay? Let's say we know we play 20 sit-and-goes an hour because we're 16 table, and we're not going to sit there and play 1 table at a time because we need to get in volume. We're going to play 20 in an hour. That means we make 2 buy-ins per hour. Okay? That means in, 50 hours we make 100 buy-ins. That's a lot. That means we want to double a 200 buy-in bankroll. We double that bankroll every 100 hours. Which is not all that much time, right? Especially if you're playing and or studying 16 hours a day like I did, then you're just going to crush it, right? I mean, you're going to move up very quickly, and that's what happened to all of these players. So, all the players who succeed, right? They found a game they could beat, and they grinded it hard, and they made tons and tons of money. My computer just glitched out. Let me make sure it's working. All right, I think it is. All right. So, you're going to double your bankroll every 100 hours if you're grinding hard. Now, to be fair, most people cannot grind hard like we used to because volume is a very difficult thing, but you can still play cash games. You can play tiny stakes cash games and grind it up. Your goal when you are starting should not be to get as rich as you possibly can, but should instead be to get as good as you possibly can quickly. So usually you don't need to be playing quite as many tables at a time. You need to be trying to actively get as good as you can. What is a sit and go? A sit and go is a 9-handed or 6-handed tournament. I played 9-handed ones just because that was the game of the day. They still exist on some of the sites. They're harder to play though because the game is easy, right? The game's not hard. Just like satellites are not hard. Sit and goes and satellites are both very, very easy games that take almost no skill set because the situations that come up are very, very similar all the time. If you compare that to a multi-table tournament or a cash game, those situations don't come up nearly as often, and they're very often more decision points because you're playing deeper stacks. Oh, hello. Do we have a guest? Do we have a guest real quick? You want to come say hello to everyone? You want to say hello to everyone?
Okay.
Okay. Look, here's Mr. James. Say hello.
I'm watching.
You're watching?
My hat.
That's your hat?
It's more.
Yeah, there's Daddy over there. There's Daddy.
No more daddy.
No more Daddy? No more Daddy? Oh, look, here's the little brood. We have the whole brood here. Can you see Thomas?
I see Thomas.
You see Thomas, yeah. These are my two babies. This is why we work hard all the time. If I didn't have these, life would be easy. But who wants it easy, right? No one wants life on easy mode. Yeah, you see lots and lots of James. Say bye to everyone.
Bye, Dad.
Can you say thank you for being
Bye,
here?
Dad. Bye, Daddy.
Bye. Bye. There's Amy, too. You all see Amy? All right, bye, James. See you later. Bye, Thomas. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Okay, back to work. Let's see. What were we talking about? Yes, you need to put in volume. So, what games can you currently put volume in at? Well, cash games are by far the easiest option for this. And you're not going to be able to play 16 tables most likely. And that's okay. But you'll be able to play 4 tables and put in a decent amount of time, right? Let's say you're going to win, let's say, 5 big blinds per 100 hands. And you can play 400 hands per hour, 6 tabling. So that is maybe not 400, maybe like 300. Let's say 300 hands an hour. You're going to make 5 big blinds per 100, so you're making 15 big blinds per hour. Okay? Think about this. 15 big blinds. That means in, let's say 6 hours you win a buy-in. Okay? So if you want to grow a 50 or 100 buy-in cash game bankroll, let's say 50 buy-in bankroll, you're going to be a little bit aggressive because you know you're going to move down. It means it's going to take you 60 hours to double your bankroll. Is that right? That's not right. It's going to take you 6 hours to get 1. So 60 to get 10, 300 to get 50. Yeah, so 300 hours. So about 2 months to double your bankroll playing cash games. That's only 4 or 6 tabling too, right? I mean, if you can figure out how to play 12 or 16, then you're going to go up way faster. So it takes you only 300 hours to double your bankroll. You can do that in 2 months. You can go from playing tiny stakes to high stakes within a year or two, which again is what a lot of other high stakes people have done. They started with almost no money and they grinded it up. And the fun thing is it's almost impossible to go broke if you have discipline because you will move back down. This is another thing a lot of people have a big problem with. They think that once they move up to a higher stake, that's the only game they can play now. And in their minds, if they only play that game, if they move down below that game, they have failed. They are a loser, etc., etc., etc. And you're not a loser if you move down. You're smart. You don't have an ego problem. So many people play poker because they have an ego problem. And then whenever they fail, their ego is not stroked. They try to blame other people. If you blame other people or other things or luck or the dealer or God or whatever, you're a fish. And that's the nice way to say it. Let's see. Some people think that they must just be like the most unlucky person because if you think about it, most of the people who do succeed at poker, they started with $50 like I did. They didn't have to redeposit because they were already smart. They studied ahead of time. I mean, I studied like 20 poker books ahead of time, and fortunately one of them said you need to keep at least some bankroll, so that was good advice. And I did. But sure, you could be the most unlucky person in the world, bust your $50, bust your $50 5 or 10 times, and then quit. That's going to happen, I don't know, 1 in 10,000 times. So you may be the 1 in 10,000 that was super unlucky, but probably not. And you have to stop looking for excuses. Remember, all you have to do, find a game you can beat and play at a time. That will give you a bankroll. And if once you get a hold of that bankroll, then you can start branching out and doing whatever you wanted. I never played a multi-table tournament until I was 20 years old. Why? Because I didn't need to. I had found a game I could beat, so I was grinding it up. And that's exactly what you want to do. Don't be thinking I need to try to learn PLO, and I need to learn tournaments, and I need to learn 7-card stud, and I need to learn this new game, whatever the next new game is. There's a new game every 6 months. Don't think you have to spend your time doing that, because if you're spending your time doing that, you're not spending your time grinding up money, and you're not spending your time bettering your skill at your game of choice, which should probably be cash games or small field tournaments. One of the two. That's what I would definitely start with. But yeah, so for 3 years straight, it's a long time. Between when I was 18 and 21, all I pretty much did was play online poker and study poker. That's it. Back then, the studying tools were way worse than they are today. Now you can solve a situation in a few minutes. Whereas back in the day, you couldn't even solve it. You just had to approximate it. And back then, there was a program called Sit and Go Power Tools. And it was essentially, if you wanted to run all the hands, it would tell you if you should be shoving or folding these hands based on the inputs you gave. So it took a lot of time. But I spent 6 hours a day on that every day for 3 years. And now, who'd have thought? Now, I know those spots pretty well, right? When you know those spots pretty well, a lot of that carries over to multi-table tournaments, and it's very beneficial. Which is why you see a lot of sit-and-go players doing particularly well at tournaments. I mean, my good friend, Shannon Shore, we used to grind sit-and-goes together all the time, every game. Bluff Rent would be in the game. And like Andrew Roble, good to see you every game. Dave Benefield, Raptor, good to see. He was there every game too. Phil Galfond, Mr. Sweets, he was there all the time too. And these are just the regulars in these games, and they've all become many of the best players in the world. And it's no surprise, right? They developed a good work ethic, and these players, all those I named, the best in the world, don't have much of an ego problem or an ego problem at all. And they're willing to move down, they're willing to be disciplined, and they succeed because of that discipline. Let's see. What are all of you saying? Anyone complaining about luck or talking about luck, forget that. If you're dealing with that in your life, you are probably not focusing on the proper things. Anyone discussing online poker in America, go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/USA. I just made a video about that. D. Nelson says, "What you started your bankroll over when you started watching a little coffee." Well, good. You were doing it all wrong. You started at the $1 buying games, now you're at $50 buying games. Well, good work. Make sure you're being disciplined, though. Work ethic is important, isn't it? Well, I view discipline and work ethic as very similar. The discipline is realizing, okay, if I want to succeed at this, and I actually want to do it, and I want to make sure I don't go broke, and I want to take it professionally, the discipline is you must sit there and you must put in substantial time. If you don't, then you're lying to yourself. You don't actually want to succeed. You just don't. Sorry. You have other priorities. And it's okay to have other priorities. Look, I would love to have six-pack abs, okay? But I'm never going to have them, and I'm okay with that. Why? Because I'm not going to diet like a lunatic, and I'm not going to go to the gym like a lunatic. So it's just not something I'm going to have in my life. It's okay. I would like it. It'd be a great thing. But not this lifetime, and that is A-okay. If you don't have the time or the energy or the mindset or whatever, if you don't really want to be a good poker player, because you have other things in life, like say you have a family. If you have a family and a good job, it's going to be hard to become a really good poker player. Sorry, it just is. And that's because you are not going to be able to put in the time that other people are putting in. I think the problem a lot of people don't recognize is that if you have a life and a job and a family and all this, you get to devote what? 20 hours of... You get to devote 20 hours a week to poker if that's like your solid full-time hobby. That's only 80 hours a month, right? And to be fair, that's like a half-time job. And you can get pretty good. The problem, though, is that you are competing long-term against people from countries where making something like $10 or $20 an hour is huge, okay? And poker provides the potential for these people to make $100 an hour or $200 an hour or more. So that's what you're competing against. These people are going to devote their lives to it if they have any chance of success. And some of those, the best of those, is what you're going to end up competing against when you start playing high-stakes tournaments. And that's a problem because they are devoting way more of their life to it than you. They're going to be devoting 80 or 90 or 100 hours a week to this. Like I did, right? I mean, I was a kid going to college. I knew the big upside from going to college is making like $60K a year as an engineer, which is fine, but it's certainly not 200 or 300 or 500K a year, which is what I thought I could achieve, right? And I only did it for 3 years. Now there are kids out there starting really young. You see all these poker sites promoting on Twitch. They're doing that for a reason. It's not to attract 30-year-olds. And kids are starting young. Kids are grinding it up. I mean, if you look at all these 18 and 20-year-old kids coming out of Europe, they didn't start last week. I know you may think they started last week. They didn't start last week. They started when they were 12. And they are now crushing it because they've been playing poker very seriously for 6 or 7 years, right? I didn't start till I was 18, so I wasn't... I mean, I had the same amount of experience when I was 25 or 30, which gave them way, way, way more time to get good. Especially by the time these kids are 25 or 30, they have all the experience, right? Another thing, I keep mentioning the friends that I found. The friends that I found back in the day, we all studied together. And we got good together. We competed against each other, but we all realized if we can all increase our ROIs and not flood the table with people like us, which, has become an issue. The games have gotten tougher. Sorry, everyone. But if we can all learn together and get better, that's going to benefit all of us. And there are groups, like cliques, all around the world. If you go to a high-stakes live tournament, there's like 4 or 5 cliques of people who hang out. And the people who hang out very often study together. And some of them study way more than others. To be fair, like my group doesn't actually study that much. Why? Because we all have a life now. You see some of the groups who literally only play poker and only study poker, and they get very good and they rise to the top inevitably, right? And you have to understand, how much do you want it? At this point in my life, do I want to devote my whole life to getting good? No, I don't. So I'm not going to do that. It's not my goal, like be #1 player of the year, because first off, I know I'm not going to travel a ton, and I know I'm not going to study as much as the other people. And that's okay. I accept this, right? And if you have in your mind that your goal is to be the best poker player in the world, well, you're kidding yourself, and your goal is insane and not self-aware. You need to be very, very, very self-aware. If you're not self-aware, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Someone told me the other day that they sit down and they think they're the best player in almost every game they play. Then I ask, how are your results? Oh, I'm basically breaking even. Well, then you're lying to yourself, right? You're straight up lying to yourself. And if you're lying to yourself, you're not going to succeed. Let's see. My screensaver keeps coming on today. I'm not sure why. Big egos are the worst. So, Eric, it depends on how the big ego is. There are a lot of people who are actually, I'm not going to say humble, but they're like down to earth, but they always have just like a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're always trying to prove themselves. I think if you're trying to prove yourself to someone or trying to make someone love you or care about you or trying to impress someone, those types of motivations are sometimes good in the very short run, but not so good in the long term. Because what if, like, your dad always said that you could not be good at poker and you never succeed in life and you never do better than he does in life, and then you do it. You end up making way more money, you end up having better relationships, whatever. Say you do that. Well, now what do you have left? I mean, you were doing all this work to try to prove to your dad that he was wrong. Now your dad probably doesn't like you because you made him look like an idiot. To be fair, he probably does still like you. But either way, you achieved your goal, right? In my mind, the goal is continuous self-improvement because I know I am never going to be perfect. It is an unachievable goal to be perfect. Therefore, I'm always striving to get closer and closer to perfect. And certainly I have problems. Lots of problems. I mean, to be fair, we wake up and we drink coffee. Do we really need to drink coffee in the morning? Probably not. Do we really need to drink wine at nighttime sometimes? Probably not. Little things, right? Little things, if you just cut them out, they'll make you better. And developing habits is a very important thing. And you have to do it in a way that is attainable. So anyway, going back to poker, how do you actually do this? Well, start small. Realize the goal is not to get rich quick. Please, 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 please. The goal is not to get rich quick. If you're trying to get rich quick by playing satellites to spin up $5 into $1 million, like my student Blas did the other day. Congrats to Blas. He turned $5 into $1.3 million on Party Poker. That's pretty good. He didn't even win the tournament. He took third place. Well, it's probably not going to work out. Fortunately, though, for Blas, he's actually studied from me a lot and knows not to be an idiot. He's already invested the money, bought an apartment, going to devote a small amount to poker, and if it fails, well, he's still going to college. He's going to have a career, and he's just going to have $1 million sitting in the bank that's going to give him 50 or 60 or 100K every year for the rest of his life. He did it. That's a good success story. But there are a lot of other players out there who put in their $5 over and over and over, tried to spin it up, failed, and then gone broke and got disgruntled. You want to make sure you are not going to be disgruntled. So once you have developed a bankroll, you have developed a way to make consistent money. That is when you need to start branching out. So I'm speaking mainly to D. Nelson here, who's watching. He's been here every day pretty much, it seems. Once you are making a decent amount of money, say you figured out a way to make $10,000 a month from poker, which is easy to do if you just play 2-5 no limit, right? At 2-5 no limit, you can make $50 an hour. After, 100 hours, you'll have made $5,000. After 200 hours, you will have made $10,000, right? You can easily put in 200 hours a month, get in there and grind, don't be weak, so you make $10,000 a month. Once you figure out how to make $10,000 a month, and your expenses are still low, something else, don't cash out your money and spend it. Almost every person I named earlier, they did not cash out any money until they had like 100K or more. I know I didn't. I didn't cash out anything until I had like 350K. Why? Because I didn't need the money. I wasn't playing for the money. It's another problem. People play for the money. If you play for the money, it's not going to work out. Anyway, unless you're making $9,000 or $10,000 a month, let's say you have $2,000 a month in expenses, which I know is low, but try to keep it low. That means you're going to profit $7K a month, which you're going to add to your bankroll to ideally move to $510, where you can double your win rate to maybe $100 or $80 an hour, which is going to be great for you, right? So what you can do is you can then start spending, gambling with some of that money in your free time, which you won't have a whole lot because you're already putting in 200 hours at the table. But maybe like say there's a soft tournament at your casino, a $500 tournament or something like that on a random day. Go there and play that. Put in some time and play that if you want to get good at tournaments. And you may find that you're just like the best tournament player ever or something, or maybe just have good results. You can devote some of that to gambling money. So after I had that 300K, that's when I started playing the Sunday Million and all those tournaments. And I was fortunate in those. We got to chop basically all of the major ones, so that's good. But that was only once I had developed enough money to where losing a few thousand a month in tournaments would just be fine. It didn't matter because at that point I was making about 20K a month. And, Patrick says it's not easy, maybe it is for you, but not for everyone. And that is because everyone else lacks discipline and they lack drive. And they lack structure in their lives that ensures they will do what they need to do to succeed. What's the recommended bankroll for playing $50 buy-in big field tournaments? Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll, and you will see. It's going to be a lot. 300 buy-ins, maybe more. But listen, Patrick, I know it's not easy, but the thing is a lot of people want to start in the middle and rise to the top. You need to start in the basement. I started in the basement. I started with $50, right? I was a young, broke kid. And I grinded it up. I took it slow. Like I said, I never had a cash for more than 5 buy-ins until I had about $300,000 to my name. Think about that, right? No cash above 5 buy-ins. People think you have to get rich. You don't. Let's see. Where can you make the most money online? Tournaments or cash games? Tournaments will be easier money. Cash games will provide the potential for more money. But you want to talk about a hard game, you start playing like 2-5 Zoom or 25-50 No Limit or something like that. Those games are incredibly tough to beat, and almost no one beats them, but the people who beat them are winning a decent amount, because even if you win 3 big blinds per 100 hands, that's $150 per 100 hands, which is good money, right? This chat is scattered nonsense. Well, Gregor, you have to understand, as we get more and more popular, the chat's going to become more and more nonsensical, and that's okay. Let's see. Have I grinded high stakes online recently? No, because I'm not a fish, right? I'm not trying to play games that I cannot beat. I'm well aware I'm not going to be beating 5-10 or higher no limit online. I used to, but the games have gotten tougher, right? And that's fine. Realize that just because a game exists does not mean that you have to play it. Everyone thinks that, oh my gosh, there's a big tournament coming up at 3,500 at my casino. I have to satellite into it because it exists. And no, you don't have to play it just because it exists. Get over that. Get over the fear of missing out. Understand, if you want to succeed, you want to not fail, you have to take it very, very, very slowly. How do you transfer the success you've had in tournaments to cash games? Realize they are different games, Robert. Start at the beginning. Start at the basement again and grind it up. What so many people want to do is they want to play, they get to where they're beating like $1,000 tournaments. Then they think it's going to be, they're going to be able to jump into like $1,000 buy-in cash games. And that's just ridiculous. You need to start in the absolute basement and grind it back up. Let's see. You read somewhere I didn't win money the first year I started to play. No, I won money immediately when I was 18. When I was 21 and I started playing live tournaments, I lost about $200K. I had 350, I lost about 200 of it. Why? Because I was playing a game I didn't know how to play and I was playing too big. I shot myself in the foot by playing tournaments when I was only used to playing sit and goes. Very different game. I didn't recognize this. Robert here asking how to transfer from tournaments to cash games. Realize they're different games and start in the basement. What is the basement? The basement is, I mean, if you're going to play cash games, 5 cent, 10 cents, right? You don't have to play big. You're playing to get experience and to prove that you are a winning player as you move up. And as you do that, you will then have a very clear indicator that you are actually skilled and not just lucky. But I started playing, 25 cent, 50 cent limits back in the day. I would not recommend limit today at all. But anyway, you need to start very, very low. With a $10,000 bankroll, your only options being live tournaments, live cash game, or live limit, or live sit and goes. Where do I suggest you start? That's an ugly question, because none of those options are great. I would say live sit and goes probably, as long as the rake is not too big and the games are soft. Like I know at the World Series one year, I played only the one table satellites with lots and lots of big last longers, and I won about 100K that year, just playing those in all of my free time. I still played all the tournaments, but I played all those in all my free time. So I know those were very soft. But you don't want to be playing like $60 live sit and goes where they take $20 rake, right? Because that's not beatable. You want to be playing like $500 sit and goes. Then again, Eric, I fear that your game may not run very often, because I don't know any casino where they regularly run $500 sit and goes like all day around the clock. Doesn't exist, I don't think. Maybe it does though. And if it does, that's great. When I said my early day poker friends were priceless, yes. Having a close network of friends can help you tremendously. Yes, you need to make friends, meet people, develop mentors. Back in the day when I started, there were no training sites. You have to understand that the training sites today can provide you essentially mentors. And especially if you sign up to a training site where the pros actually care about you, like pokercoaching.com, you can send me an email and I'll answer it. And I'm happy to help the students who come to me, right? I have things like the Inner Circle where, it is a little pricey. It's $100 a month at the moment. we're going to be raising that soon, so if you're not in it, you better get in it. Where every other week we have office hours. You can call in and ask me questions in real time. And if you can't be there live, you can send me an email. And it's like having me as your poker friend at the cost of almost no money a month. And there are plenty of resources available to you, even if you know that you don't have friends or are completely isolated. I mean, I was completely isolated. I lived in Pensacola, Florida. There were literally no good poker players in the area. So what did I do? I searched out players online and I found them. I talked to the people in my games. I was playing the sit and goes and I realized, hey, this guy Blufferent's good. This guy Good to See You's good. This guy Raptor is good. I should probably talk to them and make friends. Right? I didn't think, ooh, I have to beat this player. No, I thought, I need to learn from these people. Do I have a YouTube channel? Yes, youtube.com/floattheturn. You can search Jonathan Little and I'm sure it'll come right up. You don't have a bankroll problem, you have a gambling problem. Yeah, well, discipline's very important. Keep 200 buy-ins for high variance games and be willing to move down. If you don't do that, you're not going to succeed. Sorry, pack it up, go play a different game. There you go. Same 3 questions. What's better, tournament or cash games? Yeah, good one. How do you manage your bankroll? Is poker illegal? I should ban everyone who asks those. Well, Gregory, fortunately I have a big, long 20-page article on bankroll. I have a video. That's at jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. I have a video on Is Poker Illegal in America? jonathanlittlepoker.com/USA. And what's the other one? Tournaments or cash games? To-do list, right? There we go. That'll be done in a few days. Would you count promotional money won, like a high hand jackpot, towards win rate? Yes, you should, especially if you're paying in those things. Where do you have to be watching this from to ask questions? Right here, Brad. For those who don't know, I have Facebook chat up right over here. I have YouTube and Twitch and Periscope, which is Twitter, right here, and I have Instagram right here. You'll see me not looking at the camera. There are 2 cameras, which is a bit of a pain. One camera's here. This is Instagram. One camera's here. This is everything else. So, sorry for not looking at you. It's actually rough, because the Instagram quality is like 1,000,000 times better, but you can't stream to Instagram on my phone and to the computer, so it's a bit of a pain. But whatever. What are the best books on poker? Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em at jonathanlittlepoker.com/mastering. It's all you really need to get a very strong foundation. Is $200 a good amount to sit down with at a cash game? Johnny, that's a silly question. It depends a lot on your opponents. I discussed that. And Jonathan Little on Live No Limit Hold'em. Yeah, I multi-table even when I stream. That's right. Well, you saw James in here earlier. James says, "Oh, Daddy over there. Daddy over there's Facebook. Oh, Daddy right here. That's Instagram. Oh, Daddy over here. That's YouTube." There are 3 daddies on the screen right now. Because listen, I realize I can make my stats look better by only streaming this on one platform like Instagram or YouTube or whatever. But I want to go to wherever you all are. I know some of you want to watch on Twitch. I know some of you want to watch on Twitter and Instagram, right? So everyone has to make a little bit of sacrifice in that I don't look specifically at your camera in exchange for me helping more people. I want to help more people. Hassam, why do you think you need to change from cash games to tournaments? That's exactly the mindset flaw that I'm trying to cure from all of you. If you're decent at cash games and you're winning, just keep playing cash games. Beat 510, beat 1020. Make $200 an hour. What's the problem making $200 an hour? You're going to get rich. Would you rather get rich by playing $200 an hour or try to gamble? Stop trying to gamble. Just because the game exists does not mean you have to play it. Is it realistic to be profitable in live tournaments while working full-time? Yes, absolutely. I work full-time. I have a training site. I'm very confident I'm profitable in buy-ins at least up to 10K, probably higher. It's yet to be seen because I have a small sample in 25Ks and we've had shots, but no great success. But, yes, I work full-time. The question is, can you start playing now as a novice and then become a winning player while working full-time? That's tougher. If you don't already have the skill sets, that's a bit of a problem. People like to feed their egos in tournaments. Yeah, that's exactly true. Do I have any PDFs on low stakes? On low limits? Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/free. There we have all of my audiobooks, or most of my books available on audiobook for free if you never signed up to Audible. Also, go to any YouTube video. Actually, how do you do this? Go to pokercoaching.com, sign up, get on my email list, send a reply to the first email asking for one of the free books, and we can probably get that to you. Is 12 buy-ins a reasonable live downswing? Absolutely. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll, please. 12 buy-ins is nothing. Someone asked me the other day, I've been on a 3-month downswing. I ask, how often do you play? About once a week. Okay, 12 sessions. It's like nothing. It's literally nothing. Good players play 5,000 hands and are going to win like 60 or 70% of the time on average. Really good players online every day. And 5,000 hands is like 12 sessions live. And that's just normal. People think they're supposed to win all the time and you're not. What do I think about some tournament formula book? I think I read it and thought it was silly. You're watching the $1 Million Coaching video, sit and go video. How did the guy do? The guy got it all in with kings against ace king, and he busted out first. It was a lot of fun. We got it in kings against ace king, and he just snap lost. So I've actually been pretty unlucky in spots like that. I've coached a few people for major final tables. One guy won his way into a sit and go with 10 people where the winner got $1 million. Everyone else got like 10 or 20K. We coached him. We got him really good. Gets on with king, snap loses. It's like, ugh. I coached Steve Begleiter for the World Series of Poker main event final table. We spent tons of time together. He gets there, loses a flip, which is fine, and then he loses with queens against ace queen to lose. So he got it in flipping and he got it in good. And it's like, what are you going to do? So that's all annoying. But that's okay. Hassam says he wants to win a bracelet. Well, forget that, because that is looking to stroke your ego. If you think you need to achieve something, or if you think you need to acquire something, that is an ego problem that is going to make it very difficult for you to succeed long term. To be fair, though, everyone plays games for different reasons, right? Because some people don't play poker to make the most money. I personally play poker to make the most money I can. I'm not interested in trying to win a random title. Maybe that's because I already have, to be fair. But when I first started, remember, I played no tournaments. I was the king of the sit and goes, but you don't get a reward for being the king of the sit and goes, right? I was trying to make money, and I did. And then I wanted to play bigger. I couldn't play bigger because the biggest buying games were only $1,000 online. So we played live, where you can play 10Ks and bigger, right? So that was the reason I changed, because the potential profit was capped. But anyway, let's just win all the money. Timmy's asking me a bankroll question. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll and spend a few minutes of your life studying and reading. At what level do you stop seeing bingo players? Bingo is a different game than No Limit Hold'em. Bingo, they give you a card with five squares, bingo, on each way. Poker is a game where you get 2 physical cards and you play them differently. So you often don't see bingo players in No Limit Hold'em games. Although, if you do go to a bingo parlor and try to watch people play bingo, some of these people are amazing. I remember I went in Turning Stone one day, just randomly stumbled into the bingo hall, and there were these little old ladies sitting there with their little marker playing 9 tables at a time. They were 9 tabling bingo as fast as they could. Bam, 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 and I bet they're probably pretty good. So bingo may actually be a very good skill for practicing multi-tabling. So if you don't want to actually play poker and you want to play bingo instead, but then you want to transition to online poker at some point, bingo is probably a very good way to go about developing that skill. That said, you could just play small stakes online and do the same thing, which is probably smarter. He means bingo players as in gamblers, or a banana player. I don't know what a banana player is. I don't know if that's a vulgar joke or something like this. But I don't know how to play a banana. I do know how to gamble, though. But anyway, if the question is how do you play against players who don't know how to play, well, like, why do you want to play against players who are good? Don't be a fish. Play with the bad players. Gosh, that's how you win the most money. You want to play with bad players. Johnny says he 48 tables bingo. Goodness, you must be a master. Listen, if people play bad, that's how you win. I think it's funny that a lot of you here don't think I understand the questions when they're asked to me. Oh, goodness. I am a master troll. I used to be a very, very horrible human on the internet when I was a young, dumb kid. I was very sad, very depressed, and you learn to troll really well when you're sad and depressed. Now we're not. Now we're happy. And when do you stop seeing bad players? Once you start playing for any significant amount of money. And that's terrible because you're going to win less money. How bad do people play short stacked? Very bad. Often very bad means losing a small amount in terms of big blinds, but even losing like 1 big blind per hour is awful if you only have 10 of them. How do you play against people who make gigantic raises? You play nitty. Easy game. Do I still play sit and goes? Nope. Games are close to unbeatable. LP says, what killed the sit and goes? Many things. The main thing is that sit and goes are just not hard. They're easy. Sit and goes and satellites, the two easiest games in poker. And those games are basically dead. If you look at the high stakes sit and goes and high stakes satellites, essentially no one wins unless the games are soft. Fortunately for satellite players, there's always an influx of tiny stakes satellite players. So sit and goes are very different, where in sit and goes, you're just playing against, like say you want to play a $1,000 sit and go, everyone has to buy in for $1,000. In satellites, if you play a $1,000 satellite, often a lot of those people got in for $5 or $10, and they're not very good, right? So satellites players are fortunate in that the games are often softer, but if you take all good satellite players, no one has an edge at all. It's just everyone loses the rake. It's just impossible to have much of an edge because the game is very, very easy. That said, it's a good way to make money if you are happy with lots of variance, etc., etc. How do we get on this? Oh, what killed the sit and goes? They're just not hard. Also, I made a site that taught people to play sit and goes. That probably wasn't wise. I've actually had a bunch of like 18-year-old kids from Europe. Whenever I played in the Global Poker League, 2 of them came up to me and said, I studied your site a long time ago, your sit and go site. It made me good at poker. I learned sit and goes. I turned no money into a lot. And now here I am on the Global Poker League. And these kids were like 21. So you know when they started because the sit and go site was wrapped up like 10 years ago. Do you provide online staking? I do through a site called pocar.com. Pocarr.com. Let's see. Vyroom makes a very bad assumption. He says if you buy in short at the small stakes game, you're asking to be bullied. Well, first off, being bullied by words, by someone berating you is fine. Get over that. You need to have very thick skin to play poker. Bullied is in they're going to try to push you around. That's fantastic. Again, well, you all may not know this, but by far the most beneficial spot in poker is when you have a tiny stack and everyone else has a big stack. Think for a second. Figure out why. I'm going to have a sip of coffee. You want to be shallow stacked because the deep stack players have to play different ranges against the other deep stacked players. So if they're raising 8-7 suited and you're sitting here with 12 big blinds, you can just get it all in with king jack offsuit and crush them. And then you're going to win all the money. Thomas, did you know that? It's good to be a short stack because everybody has to play around you or they're going to get crushed. If you don't play around the baby, you're going to get crushed. Fortunately, usually there's only 1 or 2 short stacks at the game because... Why is that? Well, it's because people have ego problems. That's why. Brian says he can't be bluffed. It's really easy to play when you can't be bluffed. Just play good cards. Mark says, how about a story about the ship at Halabalas? I don't have any. There's a book about that, though, so go read that. It's called Here Come the Ship at Halabalas. Amy, do you think you would have liked me if you met me when I was in the ship at Halabalas? Amy says, no. It does not feel good to be small stack when everybody else has a lot more money and it feels like a coin flip. It's a coin flip, but where you have 60% equity and there's dead money in the pot. So you need to win 40% of the time, but you're going to win 60%. And when you run that over and over, you print the money. That is one of the easiest ways to accumulate wealth. It's not hard. You sit there and just play good cards, but it's easy. I used to do it in Pot Limit Omaha online. I'd play 200, 400. I'd buy in for 8K, a whopping 20 big blinds, If you double up, you quit. If you go broke, you rebuy for the minimum again, and you go from there. Does anyone know my Twitch name? Jonathan Little. I try to make it easy for you.
I would have liked you, but I wouldn't have married you.
Can you say that louder so everyone hears you?
No, you say.
Amy says she would have liked me, but she would not have married me. Amy has a thing for what was I? What was the thing I had that you liked?
The thing you had?
Why would you have liked me if I was in the ship at Halabalas?
You would have been like fun and different.
Amy has a thing for fun and different people. How nice. Why would you stop when you double, D. Nelson asked? Because as you get deeper stacks, say you double from 20 to 40, now the mistakes your opponents are going to make by playing incorrect ranges is not as bad. As your stack gets closer and closer to theirs, their strategy becomes better and better against you. So the time they're going to be playing worse, the worst, is when they are opening like just middle cards and stuff like that. If you open middle cards against a shallow stack, you're going to get crushed. And that's what they were doing, because like 9876 is great against deep stacks, but terrible against shallow stacks. So anyway, that is what I would do, because they were making big errors. And also, I was not good at Parliament Omaha. I want to make this perfectly clear. I studied the game for about 5 hours. And then I went from a 5-hour studying to winning about $500 an hour until that game died. Because everybody figured out, hey, this is easy. All I have to do is wait for good cards. Uh-oh, you make spit up on me? Poker is so easy when all you have to do is just wait for good cards. And that's what you had to do to beat 20 big blind pot limit Omaha. And they stopped that really quickly, though. The sites got rid of that because it just wasn't hard. Anytime there's like a really easy strategy to crush the people, well, you're going to win. It seems too gambly. It's not gambly. You have 55% every time you get it all in. What's wrong with that? 55% with a little bit of dead money in the pot. Easy, right? And that's all you have to do. You're playing a tournament with 8 day ones. Which day one would I recommend? You should play the day one that is closest to the end, because all the good players will have made it through already. You should also try to play on a weekend if that's an option. So you want to play on Saturday or Sunday, the closest one to the end. That will almost always be the softest. You're saying pot limit Omaha seems too gambly. That's what I'm saying. And when you're short stacking pot limit Omaha, you have 55% when you get it all in, and you get it all in every 10 minutes. Easy. When I play, do I feel like I'm at my best? I'm at my best given everything we have going on in life. I'm certainly not at my peak, but that's because I'm not trying to maximize my poker skill set at the moment. I'm trying to maximize being a good daddy. Ah! Thomas didn't like that. Says, Daddy, what are you doing? Which flight for the World Series is best? Usually day 1C, because that's when most satellite qualifiers are in. That said, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Ultimate Grinder says, let's create a study group. I definitely suggest you all create a study group. Join the Inner Circle. Those people at pokercoaching.com/inner circle. That's kind of like a study group, and a lot of those people have made their own Skype group where they talk poker all the time. If you make chip EV plays, yes, it decreases your chance of winning, but it increases your chance of making money. And making money is the goal, not to win. Again, we're not playing because we have ego problems. You think I have an ego problem? She says, I think the right answer is no. So no. All right, well, we've been here for about an hour. Mr. Thomas looks like a baby. Miss Thomas came out looking like me, but now he looks like Amy looked whenever she was a baby. So that's fun. The name Thomas means twin. I thought it was going to be my twin, but turns out he's actually Amy's twin. Does that make you feel good? She says yes, because James is my twin. James is definitively my twin. Thomas still has blue eyes. I figured they'd be brown by now. If they don't turn blue, I may have a problem between me and Amy. I'm sorry, if they don't turn brown, I may have a problem with Amy. Can you say bye-bye? Look at that camera up there. Can you look at that one? Okay. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. It's the weekend. If you feel like getting good, do what I said. Go and put in lots and lots of hours grinding, studying, getting good, and improving your life.